Ciao.
This episode of In a Few Minutes is sponsored by BetterHelp, online counseling that's there for you. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health at BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, betterhelp.com/a-few.
And rugged empennage, it's wasting time on the ground. But being earthbound, the monster is trundled out onto the highway to frighten other motorists.
Sorry, whatever.
I had to think about it for a second.
Yeah, it's quite all right. Jeff Gamet's here with us, everybody. Jeff Gamet, he is of Jeff Gamet fame. I mean, back in the day, you know him as the editor of the Mac Observer. Today, though, he's got his own YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/jgamet.
That's it.
Yeah. Wow, I can't believe I got that. There are Jeff's dulcet tones, by the way. Say something else for the people, won't you?
I will. But what I'll say is that, Ken, it is always a pleasure to get to hang out with you.
Oh, well, wait until we get into it.
Well, it's always a pleasure to start hanging out with you.
Okay, well, that's cool. That's, the judges will allow that. So it is Monday as people hear this, and what we do on Monday is we turn the show over to the guest, because the guest probably has some, burning something or other that they want to talk about that I might never get to. We call it It's News to Blank. Jeff Gamet is our guest, so it would be news to Jeff. Today, I'm curious, Jeff, what's news to you?
News to me, which for a lot of people, they're probably thinking, yeah, it's a simple discussion, move on, but maybe not. And it's this fascination with the Apple car and the new report that it's finally coming in 2025. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're at the point where the whole Apple car fantasy thing, I'm comfortable calling it a fetish.
Really? All right, tell me more. Well, hold on. So I would imagine that people know the report you're talking about, because I did do it on Mac OS Ken either Thursday or Friday of last week. I think it was Friday. I'm not sure. Basically, the deal is now Kevin Lynch, formerly of Apple Watch, before that, formerly of Adobe, he is now, according to rumor, in charge of the Apple car thing. And his mandate is, right, I don't want any of this, drives itself part of the time thing. I want a fully autonomized automobile, and I want it by 2025. Rolling off the line by 2025. That is his plan. And the day that report came out, Apple shares hit an intraday high and a closing high. And then, people had time to think about it. People had time to really weigh it. And so the following day, shares went even higher. I want to say they closed up like $5 or $6 on the second day of the Apple car report. And so if you haven't heard the latest Apple car report, that is the latest of that. Please, sir, continue with your fetish idea.
Okay, so ever since the whole Apple car rumor thing started years ago.
In 2015.
Right. It started so long ago that I actually was the managing editor at Mac Observer at the time.
I was still doing iChart magazine.
You were still doing iChart magazine, yes.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah. And so people have been just assuming and presuming that the Apple car is about to drop on us. Mm-hmm. And every year it doesn't. Then it's like, well, it's next year. And now we're getting these reports about 2025, but they stepped up the game. It's not just it's going to be 2025, but it's going to be this fully autonomous car that doesn't need a steering wheel or brake or gas pedals or brake or accelerator pedals in this case. Mm-hmm. Because it's that automated. Okay, so I get the kind of romantic, cool idea of Apple making a car, because I mean the MacBook Pro, sexy looking computer, iPhone, totally changed the smartphone market, iPad, gave us a tablet market when everyone else was fighting to just try and make it happen. I mean, Apple makes cool stuff. So a car from Apple, yeah, sounds exciting, sounds cool, and I'd love to see it. But it still hasn't happened. It takes a long time to make a car. So if Apple started the process when we first heard the rumors and have been working feverishly ever since then, okay, we're actually probably getting about to the point where 2025 makes sense for releasing a car. But this completely autonomous car where it's like, was it Minority Report? It was a Tom Cruise movie, one of the Tom Cruise movies where all cars are just like this vision. You get in, it pulls up, you get inside. Yeah. There's nothing. It drives you somewhere.
Right.
And that's what this vision is at this point. There's no place in the United States, and I'm focusing on the U.S. because that's where you and I happen to live. There's no place in the United States where that kind of car can actually be on the roads.
I'm sorry, do you mean legally or safely?
Legally.
Okay.
Yeah, and look at the requirements that are placed on cars. And if you want to make a car that uses cameras instead of mirrors on the sides for side view, you have to get special authorization or approval from the federal government to be able to do something like that. That's just mirrors on a car. Taking out the steering wheel and the pedals, any means of human control, holy crap, that's not going to happen by 2025.
Well, there are a couple things really quickly. First of all, the thing that I said on macOS Ken was it seems like the report seems like a tiny bit of an overreach, because if you look at the most recent numbers from the California Highway Patrol or whoever it is, the Department of Motor Vehicles, I think, who licenses and permits all of these test cars, Apple doesn't even have a permit for a fully self-driving car at this point. So like even in the skunk works, even, I mean, I guess maybe they could be riding it around the parking lot someplace, or maybe they're doing it at that proving ground in Arizona that we hear about from time to time. But as far as actually getting something out on the road, they don't even have permission to do that as a test at this point. But we're saying in 4 years they're going to have that. They're going to have that rolling. Right,
and because everyone has the fetish about the car, I came up with a way to keep that fetish alive.
Oh, wait. That seems like a perfect time for us to hold on for just one moment, because people will stick around to find out, well, it already sounds fetishy. How could it be more so? I'm thinking feather trim, but we'll find out in just a moment. Do the words happy and holidays not flow together naturally for you? This time of year can be rough. Family issues, holiday stuff. Did I get accomplished what I wanted to get accomplished this year? I don't know that being a little blue around the holidays is that unusual. But if what's got you is more than a little blue, there is help out there. BetterHelp, sponsor of today's show. Whether what's got you is depression, grief, self-esteem issues, or any of a number of concerns, BetterHelp works to find the right licensed professional therapist for you. They're not just looking for folks in your neighborhood, though. Communication with your therapist happens in BetterHelp's secure online applications. Video calls, voice, maybe you prefer text. You've got the security of BetterHelp's digital architecture, plus the same HIPAA compliance you'd have sitting in somebody's physical office. As for cost, it's less than traditional offline counseling, and if you qualify, financial aid is available. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/AFEW. That's HELP, betterhelp.com/AFEW. perplexes.com/a few, as in a few minutes. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that is BetterHelp, HELP, betterhelp.com/a few. And thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's show. Jeff Gamet is with us. Man, I nearly introduced you as editor of the Mac Observer because we've thrown ourselves back over half a decade for this. Jeff Gamet, you can follow him on Twitter, jgamet, twitter.com/jgamet or at jgamet in whatever Twitter client you use. And of course, you can see what he's doing on YouTube by going to youtube.com/jgamet. I want to hear your fetish idea. Nothing kinky. Nothing kinky.
Just dropped in now and missed everything before
that. That'd be kind of fun. I want to ask you another question really quickly, though, before we get to that. Mm-hmm. Let's say Apple does this fully autonomous whatever thing, right? We still don't know that this is a thing that's going to be in any of our driveways. We still don't know that an Apple car, assuming that such a thing does eventually exist, is going to be a thing that you and I could buy. It could be a thing that you and I hail. It could be a thing that you and I use as an app. Or it could be a thing that moves freight from one part of the country to the other. I mean, we know so little about this thing. I'm wondering, actually, is that part of the fetish? Every time we get anything, or part of the fascination, every time we get any bit of news about it, ooh, you know who I heard is in charge of it now? People just get so excited because they're glad to hear that there's, actually something happening, even though they don't know that there's actually something happening.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said for the old adage that sometimes the chase is much more exciting than the catch.
There you go. I like the idea, too. It's the whole chasing a car thing. I very much like what you just did.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about what is it that gets people, or I'm sorry, are you saying I think I figured out what the fetish is, or I think I know how to keep it going?
I know how to keep it going.
Okay, let's hear that.
Okay, so what if Apple's plan for the car is not to put it on public roads? This fully autonomous car, you get inside, no steering wheel, you just sit down and it does all the driving and everything for you, and it's awesome. And it takes you right where you want to go, and you just talk to it, and you say, "Hey, S lady, drive me," and wherever. Mm-hmm. What if this is something that Apple's designing as more of a fleet tool? And by that I mean companies are buying these to use on their own private property, and while on one hand that's like, that doesn't sound very interesting. What if it's a company like Disney, and you go to Disney resorts and they give you the white glove treatment, and you're staying at one of their many hotel or bungalow places on their property. Mm-hmm. And you decide that you're going to go over to the Epcot Center and you want to leave at 10:15, but the buses are at 10 and 10:30. So what do? Oh, you say, "Hey, S lady, I want to get picked up to go to Epcot at 10:15. And you step outside, and this car just pulls up valet style. Doors open, you climb inside, and then it takes you and drops you off right at the special VIP gate to get into Epcot from your on-premises hotel.
Well, I like the idea of turning Epcot into a vision for the future again.
So do I.
Is that why you chose Epcot as opposed to, I want to go to Movie Town or wherever the heck that park is?
That was part of it. Okay. And the other part is Disney has a really good reputation for giving people an incredible experience at the resorts. And this would be a really cool way to enhance that experience even more. But yeah, Give us our World of Tomorrow at Epcot again.
See, I like that idea, especially the part where Epcot becomes, relevant, not just a place to put the extra Marvel rides.
Right.
There's one thing that I keep coming back to, though, and it was something I saw somebody say on Twitter recently, and I can't wrap my head around it. And I know it's not my job to wrap my head around it. It's my job to get in once one of these things pulls up in front of my house. Mm-hmm. But somebody said, that the Apple Car will be to the car as the iPhone is to the smartphone, right? Or as the iPhone is to the telephone, actually. Because the original telephone, you can make a call and you were done. And the iPhone is nothing like a phone at this point. It just happens to be something with which you can make calls. Our definition of phone has changed so much, largely because of this device. Mm-hmm. I know I've talked about this on this show before. A car still has to get you from point A to point B. I don't see how you can turn a car into something that would not even be recognizable as a car, because I still have to sit in traffic. I mean, maybe traffic gets smarter once every car is smart. But I mean, I'm still heading down the highway, as they say in the song.
I'm with you. I can't wrap my head around that either, because so the phone is the phone. It was a communication thing. Mm-hmm. And it was literally tied down, leashed down, if you will, mm-hmm. because it was connected physically by a wire to the phone lines, so it didn't go anywhere. But the iPhone is completely mobile, mm-hmm. and by its nature had the ability to do more. So it wasn't tethered down anywhere. With a car, that primary goal is to move someone or some cargo from one place to another. So we've already got the mobile part. How do you take that core concept and change it so that it's not really like a car anymore? It just also happens to be a car.
Get Kevin Lynch on the phone. Maybe he can tell us.
He probably could, but...
not taking your calls either, huh?
Yeah, not taking my calls.